You're with Raf Epstein on ABC Radio Melbourne.
There are growing calls for the chair of Qantas, Richard Goyder, to resign. Some parliamentarians are going to go after Qantas. That includes the Select Committee on Commonwealth Bilateral Air Service Agreements. There's a significant National Party figure who chairs that. The deputy chair of that committee is Ralph Babbitt. He's the United Australia Party Senator for Victoria and deputy chair of the committee looking into Qantas.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me on your show.
I know this committee's barely begun, but can a federal parliamentary committee actually make much of a difference when it comes to to Qantas?
Mate, of course we can make a difference, because what it's about is it's about raising awareness and making recommendations at the end of the process. And let me tell you something, my friend. Qantas, they have a lot to answer for. We all know that. We will get to the bottom of it and we will figure out exactly what needs to be done and what recommendations should be made.
Will you really get to the bottom of it? They don't have to tell you anything.
Oh, look, we've had quite a few witnesses in so far, and let me tell you what, people have not been holding back. They've just been going hell for leather. That's what's been happening.
So do you think this committee can lead to, I don't know, something like more flights from other airlines coming into Australia?
Yeah. Yes. Look, what I want to see at the end of this process personally is I want to see us open up our skies. And I personally, as a crossbench senator, think that what we need is more competition in the marketplace, because more competition will result, obviously, in lower prices for the end consumer. A lot of people have an affiliation to Qantas. They feel like Qantas is the airline of Australia, and in a way it is. But at the end of the day, you've got to think of this as well. Qantas is a private corporation. Qantas doesn't socialise its profits with the Australian people. They'll socialise their losses, though, but not their profit. And I think that has to end. That's not right.
I realise I want to talk about the Premier Dan Andrews on his way out the door, but just a final question on this. You're a committee. The government control this stuff. The federal government do not have to listen to your committee. How do you turn your questions and your concerns into actual action from a federal Labor government?
Yes, absolutely. So like I said before, Raf, it's about raising awareness. And the people who control the government, guess what? It's you, mum and dad at home. So if you see the result of our committee, you're not happy about it, you pick up a fuss, the government will listen, because the one thing the government cares about is re-election in that ballot box next time around. And they will absolutely do everything they can if you get up, to keep their seat if you get upset enough about it.
Ralph Babbitt, what do you think Dan Andrews will be remembered for?
Mate, do I have a list of what he will be remembered for? How about this? The red shirt scandals, Slaggate, hotel quarantine, no ambulances, school closures, a health system on the verge of collapse, the Belt and Roads fiasco with the CCP, suicide, cover-ups, bankrupt small businesses, five IBAC inquiries, closed playgrounds, ring of steel, 5 pays from your home, most lockdown city the world has ever seen. The list just goes on and on, Russ. On and on. And the people out there that think that, Dan Andrews is such a popular leader, he's so amazing. The guy got 37% of the first preference vote, which means 63% of Victorians can't stand the guy. I'm one of those guys. I'm glad to see the back of him, my friend. Glad.
I'm really curious, Ralph Babbitt, and I think everyone who dislikes Dan Andrews might agree with a lot of your list. Of course, no adverse findings at those corruption inquiries. But people like you have rattled off those lists for a long time. Before this, the election in 22, before the election in 2018, there were sort of similar sorts of lists. Haven't you fundamentally misunderstood? He has a connection with the Victorian people. He has
no connection. He has no connection.
Well, he does. He keeps on increasing his majority. We've got a preferential voting system, Ralph Babbitt.
That is the problem, okay? So the preferential voting system is designed to make sure that one of the two major parties always takes power. That's what it's designed to do. It's designed for stability.
And every time Victorians have chosen Labor over Liberal.
I understand that. But the time of the Labor Party and the Liberal Party, and they're both as bad as each other, is coming to an end, because the average person is waking up. The minor party vote, UAP and any others,
is going up.
Climbing. Yeah. The combined vote last time was about 11%, 12% at the last federal election, which is not a small amount.
Yes.
The day will come where we take down these two major parties, and I'm glad Dan Andrews is gone, but what I don't want to happen is him to march off into the sunset without first fronting a royal commission.
Well, it's not
we
gonna
need a
happen.
royal commission to look into everything that's happened during COVID, because the World Health Organization, the United Nations, they keep telling us, this is what they say, there's another pandemic on the way.
True. Can I just steer it back? Can I just steer it back to the Premier's departure? And again, Ralph Babbitt, I invite you on the radio because there's nothing wrong, and there's an important principle of our democracy is people like you get into the Parliament, you get to say what you think, but you've just failed to engage with what he gets right. There's a fundamental unwillingness to engage with what he gets right.
No. He hasn't got anything right. What has he got right? $170 billion of debt, more debt than Queensland, Tasmania, and New South Wales combined.
He got a ton more votes than you ever got, Ralph Babbitt. That's the fact, isn't it?
He got 37% of the vote. That's all he got.
You got barely any. I mean, you got in on preferences.
I got it on preferences as well. But what we need to understand is there's a shift happening. There's a shift, Raf. People are sick of the two major parties, and we will have our moment in the sun. It wasn't the last election. It may not even be the next one, but the tide is turning and things will change. People are sick of being represented by leaders who just don't give a stuff about them, who say the right things on TV to get elected, and then once they get in, they just disregard everything they said. That's not right. I've had a gutful. I know you have as well secretly. Vote UAP next election.
Ralph Babbitt. Look, I disagree with you on many of those observations, but I'm always glad to have you on the radio. We'll get you in the studio one day. Thanks so much for your time.
Legend, mate. Bye-bye.